Have you ever wondered how streets get their names? It's a fascinating topic, one that's often overlooked despite its impact on our daily lives. Street names are more than just identifiers. They're woven into the very fabric of our cities, reflecting their rich histories and diverse cultures. We zip past them every day, never giving a second thought to their origin or the stories they could tell. So how exactly do streets get their names? Stick around to uncover the mystery. Historically, street names were usually derived from a landmark or feature on the route. Streets were more than just pathways. They were narrative threads weaving the fabric of the community's story. Often you'd find streets named after a prominent landmark or geographical feature. Hill Street for a street running up a hill, River Road alongside a flowing river. You get the idea. In addition to the geographical aspects, the livelihoods of the people also played a significant role. The trade or the industry that thrived in a particular area often lent its name to the street. For instance, Mill Street would have been home to a mill, while Butcher's Lane would have been where you found the local meat market. Names were also a way to honor influential figures, with streets often named after local heroes, influential families, or esteemed visitors. Interestingly, many of these historical names have stood the test of time and remain unchanged. They serve as a silent testament to the past, a nod to the history of the place and its people. However, as towns expanded into cities and cities morphed into sprawling metropolises, street naming could no longer rely solely on landmarks or local trades. The process needed to become more systematic, more methodical. And so, it evolved. But as cities grew and street naming became more systematic, the process evolved. In the modern world, the process of naming streets has become more organized and regulated. Gone are the days when streets were named willy-nilly. Today there's a method to the madness. City or town planners, developers, or local councils often hold the reins when it comes to assigning names to our avenues, boulevards, and lanes. These decision-makers follow a set of rules and guidelines. For starters, they avoid duplicating existing names within the same city or town. Imagine the chaos if every other street was called Main Street. Also, the chosen names ought to be easy to pronounce and spell, ensuring smooth communication for residents and visitors alike. But it's not all about practicality. Street names also reflect the soul of a community. They're often named after local heroes, serving as perennial reminders of those who've made significant contributions to society. Historical events, too, find their way into street names, turning ordinary road signs into mini history lessons. And then there are streets named after cultural elements. These might include local flora and fauna, indigenous languages, or even popular works of literature. It's a creative way of fostering a sense of local identity and pride. Yet despite this systematic approach, the process can sometimes still spark controversy. But that's a tale for another scene. For now, let's marvel at the thoughtfulness that goes into naming the streets we so casually tread on. Street names, though seemingly ordinary, can sometimes become the center of heated debates. In the grand tapestry of human society, street names are more than mere labels. They often carry the weight of history, culture, and sometimes controversy. Let's take a stroll down the lanes of change and controversy. Streets have often been renamed due to political shifts or social movements. For example, many streets bearing the names of colonial figures in various parts of the world have been renamed to reflect the country's independence and their own heroes. Similarly, streets named after individuals who later fell from grace have also seen changes. It's not just about the past, though. In recent times, there's been a push to rename streets to honor influential figures from marginalized communities, reflecting the evolving societal values. These controversies and changes underline the significance of street names in our society. So the next time you walk down a street, remember, its name carries a piece of history with it. So we've journeyed through the fascinating process of how streets get their names. We've seen how history has a way of etching itself onto our maps. From the early days of naming streets after landmarks and trades to the modern process of committees and public input. We've also delved into the controversies that sometimes arise, changing names as society evolves. From reflecting local history to sparking debates, street names surely hold more intrigue than meets the eye.